Hi, this is Chef Janie Pendleton, and today we're coming into my personal home and we are going to be making a gingerbread house. So come on in and let's get started. Here we have the paddle wheel cut out, and I've just kind of drawn on there where I'm going to place the icing and score my dough. It's still warm. And this is going to be a thatched cottage, and for thatching I'm going to be using the large pieces of shredded wheat. This right here is the side of the building. This right here is the house. This is for, of course, my chimney. I'm going to cut one of those, and I just wrote on here how many I was going to cut. Like I got to cut 2 of these, 2 of the sides, 2 of the roofs, 1 of the ridge poles, and 2 of the paddle wheel. And then here, these pieces here are for the sides of my fireplace, and then these are the strips, and these are just going to go on here like this. So I'm gonna use Boston baked beans. You can even use like coffee and vanilla Jelly Belly beans here, and then white frosting up to here, and then I'm going to use these pieces here of dough for that cottage look, kind of like a German or a Dutch thatched cottage type look. Okay, so let's get started making the dough. Okay, for the gingerbread house dough, we need a really thick, sturdy dough. So for our gingerbread dough, we're going to start out with a cup of softened butter, and I mean softened just to room temperature, not too soft. And you can use imperial margarine. That's what I'm going to be using for this one. We're also going to be using 1 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 6 eggs, 2 tablespoons of this grandma's molasses, dark molasses. You can use light if you'd like. I'm using, by the way, dark brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar if you like. 6 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and we got a teaspoon of ground, well, actually I'm going to put in a whole tablespoon of ground cloves or allspice. And I'm going to use a tablespoon of cinnamon. And then I'm also going to do a tablespoon of ginger. And then the cream of tartar here I'm going to use in the icing. So we're going to set this aside. That's going to help that's going to help that icing set like cement. Okay? And for the icing we're going to use 3 egg whites, 1 1/2 teaspoons cream of tartar, and 3 1/2 cups of confectioner's sugar. Okay? So now, let's put this together and let's get started. We're going to start with by bringing 2 sticks of margarine, which is equal to 1 cup of butter, to room temperature. Still firm, just a little bit soft. Okay? See that? Just a little soft. If you get it too soft, put it in the freezer for about 5 minutes. Okay, here we're just going to cream the butter. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to add the 1 3/4 cups of our dark brown sugar. Again, you can use light brown sugar on this. Okay, here we just have a cup of packed brown sugar. And now we're going to add another 3/4 of a cup. So that's 1 3/4 cup of packed dark brown sugar. Again, you can use light brown sugar if you wish. And we're just going to incorporate that really well. We're going to let that run for about a minute, minute and a half. That will dissolve these sugars. I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of molasses. There we go. And this is the nice dark thick molasses. Okay. We're just going to turn this back on. A little bit of a stir, and then we're going to add our eggs 1 at a time. Okay, don't forget to stop and scrape down your bowl. Okay. And we're going to let this run for about another 30 seconds. About a minute total. And this is the consistency. See if you can see it here. Okay, about like pumpkin pulp. Now in a separate bowl, we're going to add 6 cups of flour. Again, that's 6 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that 6 cups of flour, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I made it a little bit heaping. And here we're going to add almost a tablespoon of ginger. You can add a full tablespoon if you like. I like mine about 3/4 of a tablespoon. Then here I'm just sprinkling in a tablespoon of cinnamon, and actually on this I go over a tablespoon, just a little bit over. And now I'm adding about a 1/2 tablespoon of ground cloves, or you can add a whole tablespoon of ground allspice. But I'm just adding a 1/2 tablespoon of ground cloves. Okay, and I'm just going to take a regular whisk, and I'm just going to kind of whisk that together. This kind of sifts the flour as well. This really smells so good in my kitchen right now. Okay, be sure and use your splatter guard. And I'm just going to start adding the 6 cups of flour into my wet mixture. There we go. And we're just going to keep slowly adding until we get all 6 cups in here. And we're going to wait, and we're going to mix this till it has a nice smooth consistency. Now we're just going to take the dough, we're going to remove it from our bowl, and we're going to place it on our fairly heavily floured dough sheet here. Okay. Okay, now we're just going to knead this dough until smooth. Just a little bit of flour. Okay. And we're just going to start kneading. And we're just going to do this for probably about 1 minute until it's nice and smooth. Okay? This dough is working up excellently. Look at this. Keep adding a little bit of flour. Keep folding. Nice consistency on this. Okay. Okay, now once we have the dough kneaded, we have this nice smooth consistency. We're just going to transfer it over here to some plastic wrap. And we're going to wrap it up in plastic wrap. And we are going to put it in the refrigerator for about 35 to 40 minutes. Now while that's in the refrigerator, I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to make another batch. Okay, once we have rolled out our dough to 1/4 inch thick, we've just used our templates. And we've just used a simple steak knife here. You can use any kind of knife. Probably even like one of those pumpkin cutting knives would work. And we want to cut out our pieces. Now here I just have some shutters that I used. I used as many of the parts as I possibly could. And I still had the roof and the sides of the house and the chimney to go. But I have made the back of the house, the sides of the dormers, the front of the house, some more dormers, some right sides of the dormers. Remember to do rights and lefts. So you just want to take your template, flip it over, cut 2, flip it over the other way, and cut 2. We've done our door here. Now these right here I'm going to put crushed candy in. And I'm going to put crushed candy here inside of the windows as well, to give them a nice stained glass look. And we will do that next before we bake it. I've made a couple of little spirals here. These will bake up nice and they'll go in there. This is parts to my paddle wheel, window sills, and then I just going to go ahead and bake up a couple of extra parts as well. Bake up extras, you may need it. You may get some big idea and may need it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and turn the oven on, do 325 degrees. And I'm going to bake this for, about 20 minutes. It'll still be a little soft, but these are going to sit out overnight, and they're going to cool overnight, lightly covered in some tea towels, and then I'll be able to let the moisture out of it for the night, let it get nice and hard, and then we will make this up tomorrow. So just crush some hard candies and fill in the window areas, and this will make our stained glass. Now you want to be sure and check on it, and that definitely seems to be working. I'm going to let it go for the other 4 minutes. Okay, I removed these from the oven, and they should be very firm to touch. So the larger pieces took about 20 minutes. These took about 18, and these took 15, okay? You can see here I made a couple of little curly cues as well. We'll put those on the house. And then here's our door. And I sprayed it with a little bit of Crisco spray on the back just to keep it from sticking. But you want to let these pieces cool on the foil for an extra 10 to 15 minutes so this does not stick. And it won't stick as long as you let it cool. But if you pull it off too quickly, you could break this, and you could also keep this could stick to the foil. So just let it cool, about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll put it on a cooling rack to finish drying, like we did our little door. And if you hold this door up to the light, there you go, you can see the stained glass colors. And when we put a light inside of our house, this will look awesome, trust me. Let your gingerbread cool on racks overnight.